Hey guys, it's Matt with BleepinJeep.com, and today I've got some LED lights that I'm going to install on the zombie Jeep. Now they don't quite fit, so I'm going to make a bracket. So that's what this video is going to be about today. Don't forget to check out the website, BleepinJeep.com. We've got all the best off-road videos on YouTube, none of the boring stuff. We've got hats and t-shirts, muffler bearings, flux capacitors, discount coupon codes, and more. So check it out, BleepinJeep.com. Also do subscribe to the YouTube channel and check out the Facebook page as well. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so I've decided on the placement of the lights, but as you know, LEDs have these little brackets on the side, and they're really only good for putting on a flat surface. And what we've got here on the zombie bumper is two brackets. This was made for, like KC lights or round lights, individual lights. So I'm going to need to devise something that I can mount not only this, but also the other light as well. And I don't want it to stand off, 3 inches like this bracket does. I want it to be fairly close and look just like that. So what I'm going to do is use this flat bar that I've got here, and we'll cut it up, bend it, weld it together, try and make a bracket so those lights will fit just like that. So the first thing I've done is measured the light from the mounting point on this side to this side is somewhere around 21 and a half. I think it was 21 and 5/8. So I've gone ahead and measured that on here, and 2 inches on either side so I can bend it up and attach to this top light. Once I get that done, we'll work on the bottom one. Alright, now this is thin steel. I could probably bend that at a 90 degree without heating it, but I want to make sure it's a nice clean bend and as 90 degree as possible, not a curve. So I'm going to heat it up and then bend it. Alright, then I'll measure again just to make sure I've got the right spot. Clamped it down a little higher this time because of that side. And now I will do the same thing. Alright, so now I can test fit the light in here, see if it's going to work. There we go. That's pretty tight, but I see a couple problems here. So the first potential problem I see is that I can't put a bolt through here because there's no room for a bolt head. I could weld it onto those brackets there, but I also would like to have it come a little further out towards the front, and to do that it's also going to need to come up a little higher. So I think I have an idea though, and that is just to add more bracketry onto here a little higher and have it stick out a little further. So if that bracket's going to sit right about there, and I probably want the light to sit right about there. So to get that correct, I just need to take a few measurements here. Alright, so I cut a little 4-inch piece out, and I think I will weld that right there, although I don't want it to be that tall, so I'm probably going to have to knock down the top of this bracket a little bit more. and get that just at the right height. I think I'll also be well advised to drill that hole before I weld it on there. That way I have a flat piece to drill into. Alright, so now I need to weld these onto here, but before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and drill that hole. It'll be much easier now than after I weld it on there. Alright, let's see how that fits now. That fits very nicely. Now, before I finish up here, I'll have to make sure to round the edges off a little bit. And I also need to make some groove marks on the inside. If you'll notice, the light has a groove pattern that matches with the bracket that it came with. That's to keep it from rotating. It kind of has these clicks that it clicks into, and I'd like to kind of match that a little bit, at least on the inside of this bracket. That way it'll kind of click into those grooves. I think I can do that with the angle grinder, but for now let's just test fit it, and then we'll start working on the lower bracket. Alright, so there it is. Now, it's a little bit lower than I expected. I guess I can either space that up off of the bumper a little bit with a spacer, or I could drill 2 more holes up a little bit higher here. I think I'd rather do that. That way I can not have to have spacers down there, which would weaken the whole bracket just a little bit. So, let me go ahead and drill those holes up higher. Drill some holes back here to mount it down, and then I'll start working on the bottom light. There we go. That's much better. Now I've got about a 1/4 inch gap on the bottom there. And now I just need to drill the holes on the back side here. Those are a little bit larger, probably 1/2 inch or so. I'll have to center it up and mark those first, and then we'll be rolling. Alright, so there's the bracket for the top light, and for the bottom light I will probably do just about the same. I'll probably do just about the same. Have a bracket come down off of this back piece and then across for the front, which is kind of a shame, since if I knew I was going to do that, I wouldn't have had to bend that. But oh well, what you going to do? I think that's the way I'll do it. I could come straight down off of this piece, but that would put a lot of weight towards the front and kind of pull it. It's also going to need to be a little more precise, because I've only got about a 1/16 of an inch up or down play back here, and I don't really want it banging on there, so I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that. Maybe I'll leave this for the morning. Alright, so I made these little brackets. Now all I need to do is weld those together and then weld them on the big bracket. Alright, now I need to attach this bracket to that bracket. To do that, I'll use a welding square. Make sure it all looks good, and then tack it up. Alright, now before I weld that up solid, I'll need to test fit it, make sure it's going to work. Alright. There we go. Looks like that's going to work pretty good. I just got to make sure I drill the holes in the exact right spots for that bottom bracket. And to do that, I'll actually have to bolt it down, or in this case, just clamp it down. Now I'll try to mark the holes as precise as possible here, looking at it from the top and then from the side, making an X. Alright, so there's one last thing I need to do before I'm finished, and that is to groove this. I think if I groove that with the angle grinder and a cutoff wheel, I think that'll keep that from rotating inside the mount. The light has these little grooves on the ring just outside of the hole, and if I groove this to match, I think it will keep it from rotating. Alright, let's check it out. Alright guys, check it out. I think it turned out pretty good. I still have to round off the edges of that bracket and paint it, but I'll leave that boring stuff for another day. Don't forget to check out the website, BleepinJeep.com. We've got all the best off-road videos on YouTube, none of the boring stuff. We've got hats and t-shirts, muffler bearings, flux capacitors, hard to find parts, and discount coupon codes. Check it out, BleepinJeep.com. Also, do subscribe to the YouTube channel and check out the Facebook page as well. Leave your comments below, and we'll see you next time.